What you are about to see is an account of the tragedy which befell an action figure reviewer. It is all the more tragic in that his channel was young, but had he reviewed a very, very long time, he could not have expected, nor would he have wished to see as much of the mad and macabre as he was to see with the Mezco Cinema of Fear Series 3 Leatherface figure. For him, an idyllic internet review became a nightmare. The events of that day were to lead to the discovery of one of the most bizarre channels in the annals of YouTube, Outside the Box Reviews.
Today on Outside the Box Reviews, we are taking a look at the Mezco Cinema of Fear Series 3 Leatherface. And this is the Leatherface from the 2003 remake. A remake that I have to say, I didn't mind at all. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is definitely a strange movie. It is not what I think most people think it is, to be honest with you. I think most people expect it to be a bloody, gory movie and horrific in a very traditional, horrific sense. But it's horrific in this kind of strange black comedy kind of way, and there's not really much gore at all. And it's just not what I think people actually think it is. So with the remake, I think we got a movie that was what people thought Texas Chainsaw Massacre was. And I did kind of enjoy it. There's parts of it I don't like. I kind of get sick of Arlie Ermey after a while. But a lot of it I think was done okay. This Leatherface figure is probably one of the earliest horror pieces I had in my collection. I think I picked it up at a Hot Topic, which kind of shows the age of it just because Hot Topic hasn't carried action figures in years from what I've seen. And even though I don't like to reveal how I feel about a figure too early in the review, I'm just going to be upfront and say it. This is one of my favorite figures that Mezco has ever released. Mezco released a lot, but this guy, to me, is the epitome of what Mezco can do with an action figure. Ironically enough, that one of my least favorite Mezco figures that I own also came in this wave. But we'll get into that at another time. Leatherface comes with several accessories. One is this tray of ears. I have to say this is a very odd decision on Mezco's part to give us this tray of ears. I can place it in the movie. I have seen it multiple times, but it is in a panning shot. You see it briefly. And I don't really know why this is what they chose to throw in there, but it's okay. And it's got 3 little ears in there. They're okay in detail. They're nothing great. Once again, it's Mezco, so there is kind of a cartoony aspect to it. And it's just black. It's kind of a softer rubber, so it's a little flexible. I honestly normally stick it up like this, kind of like it would be a pin box or something on my shelf, because you can't see it if it's down, so you just have to kind of stick it up on end. A little strange, but fitting for Leatherface, I guess. He also comes with his sledgehammer, which is very important for Leatherface. The other Mezco, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre Leatherface, also came with a sledgehammer, because he kind of needs it. There's kind of an important scene, and a classic scene that the remake did fairly well, I think, that you need the sledgehammer for. I like the paint job on it. It's a silvery, but it's kind of blackish. The sculpt on it's really nice, very angular. It looks like it would be heavy. Some nice wood grain on the handle. If there's anything Mezco does well, I think it's wood grain on handles for weapons. They've always seemed to capture that pretty nicely. But it's a good long sledgehammer, which is nice. Very accurate to the movie. I like it. And then he comes with this. I mean, I don't know. Is this ever in the movie? Does Leatherface ever use this? Okay, I'm being facetious. Yes, he comes with his chainsaw, and I really do dig this thing. I don't feel like the color is quite right. I don't really remember what color it was in the movie, but I feel like this isn't quite the right color. It's kind of maroon. They've dusted it with black. Kind of looks like just a spray of black over it. It looks okay. Well, there's a lot of great detail. You got the little pull string here, and the vent over here, the handle up front, the big grill. And then, of course, the toothed blade. One thing I really do like about it is that they didn't go in and put a bunch of blood on this. Mezco has put blood on plenty of things before, so they very easily could have done it with this. But they chose not to, which fits the movie because the remake of Texas Chainsaw isn't a whole lot bloodier than the original, to be honest with you. So it's nice that we got a non-bloody chainsaw, in my opinion. One thing I've always had an issue with is you have all these nicely sculpted teeth, and here at the end it appears to be missing a tooth. Now, I don't know if that's for safety reasons, like so you couldn't poke somebody with it and hurt them as easily or something stupid like that, or if mine is defective and I'm actually missing the chainsaw tooth. Because if you look at it, the actual teeth do alternate side to side, and when you get up here I have 2 on one side and I'm missing 1 on the other. Kind of hard to focus on it at that angle, but I don't know if mine actually just broke off, maybe in package or something, but I know it's been like this the whole time I've had it in my possession. But still, a very nicely done chainsaw, even a little detail on the bottom, which is cool. I love it. I really do like it. And it's fairly weighty for an action figure accessory, but it's not ridiculously so it will work easily enough to pose him with. The actual detail they crammed into the figure itself is equally impressive. To come in here and look at his mask, I think they did a really good job of it. Now, the mask in the movie had a lot of different features on it. I know it had like lips or something like that down here. Had a bunch of different extra human parts over it. And Mezco did not capture those. And I would say if NECA did a modern take on this, they probably would capture some of those details. But overall, we get a very good sense of what the mask looks like. May not be perfect, but it's well done. And as I mentioned NECA doing something, I do remember that McFarlane actually took a stab at this figure. Never was tempted to pick that one up since it is very pre-posed and kind of bland in my opinion to some degree. So I'm not really familiar with what level of detail they put into that. So if anybody knows if they got their mask more accurate, let me know. But I do like him. He's got his black hair coming out of the back here. Though I do also believe in the movie this side crop of hair was a different color than the rest, so that would have been a nice detail to add in. But you can see his eyes through the mask. The skin around his eyes is a little too dark. It's almost like an orangey spray tan look. He has lips and his teeth here. His teeth are kind of yellowy. All kinds of stitching through it. I like the color on it. It's greenish but kind of gray at the same time. Kind of reminds me of Romero's zombies from Dawn of the Dead. Which I don't know if that's really intentional, but that's what it reminds me of. But I really do like the mask. There's a few things that could have been improved on it, but overall I think it gives a great look. And this isn't the only head you get. You can take this head, pop it clean off, very easily by the way, and pop on his unmasked head. Now the inclusion of the unmasked head is a little weird to me. Here you have a portrayal of the actor with his nose eaten away. His face is kind of scarred up and ugly looking. I like his facial expression. But some of it just doesn't match. The flesh you see here around the eyes and mouth do not match that of the masked head. The masked head is very dark and almost reddish orange. And this unmasked head does not come close to that. Honestly, I think it's more of a problem with the masked head than the unmasked. But they are inconsistent between the two. There's also some paint slop. A lot of the flesh tone bled onto the hair. Quite honestly, that wouldn't be hard to do. Just take a little brush and paint in the black if I really wanted to. And I might. I'll think about it. But I like this texture they gave his skin. Very pockmarked and just weird looking. The missing nose is kind of cool. But I really don't know if this was the accessory to give us as an alternate head. I'm all for having an alternate head. And I'm going to assume the urge to do Unmasked came from the fact that at the time Mezco was doing a bunch of Jason figures as well. And Jason always has an unmasked mode, basically. And with Jason, it's cool because you want to see what's behind the mask. Leatherface, I never really cared. I really never cared what Leatherface looked like with a mask off. With the Series 1 original Leatherface, they gave us an alternate masked head, the housewife kind of head. And I think they should have done that here. They should have given us the, was it Kemper? His face as a mask, or it was just the actor's likeness? And I don't know, maybe this, because even though it is the actor who played Leatherface with some digital work, maybe it was far removed enough that they could do this without the license to the actor's likeness. and maybe the flesh mask of the teenager would have been too close somehow. I don't know if it was a licensing issue, but I really would have liked to see that mask more than anything else, because I think that's one of the scariest scenes in the movie, when he's attacking the girls and he turns around and you just see the girl's boyfriend's face over his, and it still looks like he's almost alive, but you know he's not. The rest of Leatherface is equally well detailed. We have his leather apron, which is very dirty and brown. It's all made of a rubberized, soft material. Comes around here and ties in the back and loops around his neck. I like that they actually gave us a full apron as opposed to the Series 1 Leatherface, where he had kind of the facade. It had a tie in the back that was sculpted in, and it just pegged into the side. And then these parts hid under his collar. This one actually goes all the way around his neck. And it is removable. All you gotta do is unpeg it right back here at the tie. Pull it right off. And here you have Leatherface without it. So we could see his shirt, which has a nice little pattern on it. It's dirtied and nasty looking. He's got his tie, which is plastered onto him, but still cool. I would have liked this to be a separate rubber piece, but maybe it was too much with having the apron on there. I think 2 rubber pieces might have melted into each other during shipping or something like that. See the flesh on his neck, which is also dirtied and nasty. Turn him around. All the appropriate wrinkles and everything. Little paint smudge up here, but not too bad. They did give him a very Leatherface build, kind of a bulkier, semi-fat look. Very skinny legs on him, though. Completely sculpted legs, just black pants, no real detail. Mezco is guilty of this a lot, giving us the entire lower body of the figure in just black plastic. He's got his big, chunky, Frankenstein-esque boots on there, which I like. He's got his belts. On his arms, he has the shirt sleeve coming down here. Then you can see kind of an undershirt poking out here, and these wrappings around his wrist. All kinds of belts and ties, and I like the look of this a lot. They did a good job getting all these little details into his arms. They're pretty even on both sides of just detailed stuff. And then, of course, he has his rings on his hand, probably stolen off his victims. Got a few more on here as well. Really nicely done. I also like the sculpt and paint on the hands. For articulation, this is one where the articulation really shines. When I talked about the Part 3 Jason that Mezco did, I think some people disagreed with me on my comments on their articulation, and I think somebody actually told me that the articulation on that figure was fantastic for the time. But that was a Wave 4 figure. This is Wave 3, and the articulation on him blows that Jason out of the water. Because we have a ball-jointed neck, but it's not just ball-jointed. As you can see if I remove the mask again, it's a double little barbell joint. So you have a ball joint at the top of the neck, and then one in the head itself, which I feel gives you a great range of motion. You can actually kind of get like a forward and backwards on the head here. You get up and down as much as the sculpt will allow. You could tilt the head. All kinds of great things. Of course, rotate side to side. It's a fantastic joint. He has pin and socket shoulders, so you can get him out to fairly far, past 45 degrees at least, and spin him around. Good range of motion there, especially for a Mezco figure. Bend at the elbow, which once again, it's almost a full 90 degrees, and swivel. Swivel as much as you want. You can rotate the wrist and also bend at the wrist, even though he doesn't really go back as much, but when are you really going to need him to go back? And his waist is a ball joint, and I think it's similar to the neck, where there's a ball joint in the lower torso and a ball joint in the upper torso, so you can get a really great range of motion out of Leatherface here. And of course, as I mentioned before, from the waist down, he is a complete statue. But he does stand well, if nothing else. I hate it when you have a statue lower body and he doesn't stand well. As I said before, this is one of my favorite figures. Actually, I think the favorite figure I have from the entire Mezco Cinema of Fear line. So that's 4 waves of figures and several extra releases beyond that. This is the strongest to me. He has really good articulation. The sculpt is pretty darn good, especially for Mezco. As I've always mentioned, Mezco has kind of a different cartoony style, but this guy is fairly realistic looking. And there are times I forget if he's Mezco or NECA, to be honest with you, because he kind of has that NECA realistic detail to him. And overall, I just love this figure. I've always loved having him on display in my collection. He's just great. I can't say enough good things about him. Yeah, I've pulled out a couple flaws with him. He's not perfect by any means. And I think there's been a lot of other horror figures done better than him. But I really don't think Mezco ever did better. The sculpt and the paint really complement it, really give it that mood that the remake had. And I just really love it, and I highly recommend it. I haven't taken a look at how much this guy runs for on eBay, but if you're a fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, I think any of them, but especially the remake, I think this is a must-have piece for your collection. I think it's really great. Another reason why I've never bothered thinking about getting the McFarlane one is because I got this one before I even knew the McFarlane one existed, and I'm happy. I don't feel like I need to go hunt down a different version of this guy. I'm perfectly content with what I have here. Make sure you check out Outside the Box Reviews on Facebook. And until next time, it's been another Outside the Box Review. Stay tuned for more to come.